What if I told you the next billion-dollar company might start from a tiny apartment with one laptop, one exhausted founder, and an idea nobody believed in? No investors, no fancy office, no team, no guarantees, just pressure. Because every startup founder begins in the same place: uncertainty. People love to celebrate IPOs. They see the headlines. Company valued at $5 billion. Founder becomes youngest billionaire. Startup raises $100 million. But nobody talks about the first stage, the lonely stage, the dangerous stage, the stage where most founders quit. Because building a startup isn't really about business. It's about surviving yourself, your fear, your doubt, your impatience, your ego. And today, we're breaking down the startup founder journey, from idea to billion-dollar IPO. Not fantasy, reality. Because the path changes at every level. And if you understand the levels, you stop chasing motivation and start building leverage. Let's begin. Level 1, the idea stage. This is where almost everyone starts, and where almost everyone stays. You have an idea, an app, a platform, a service, a product, something that makes you think, this could be huge. At this stage, the idea feels powerful. You imagine freedom. No boss, no salary ceiling, no permission needed. Just you and the future. But here's the brutal truth. Ideas are cheap. Execution is expensive. Most people fall in love with the idea of entrepreneurship, not entrepreneurship itself. Because ideas feel safe. Execution creates pain. At level 1, you spend hours researching logos before talking to customers. You build websites before validating demand. You plan businesses that nobody asked for. This is where people confuse motion with progress. Real founders ask one question: will someone pay for this? That's it. Not likes, not compliments. Money. Because the market doesn't reward ideas. It rewards solved problems. And the first job of a founder is not building, it's listening. Level 2, the survival stage. This is where reality hits. You launch. And suddenly, nothing happens. No traffic, no customers, no momentum, silence. This is the stage where motivation dies. Because now, you're not dreaming. You're selling. And selling feels uncomfortable. You start doubting yourself. Maybe the idea is bad. Maybe you're too late. Maybe you're not founder material. This stage destroys ego. Because business doesn't care how passionate you are. It only responds to value. At this level, most founders are underpaid, overworked, and emotionally exhausted. You're doing everything: sales, support, marketing, product, accounting. You are the system, and that's dangerous. Because if you stop, everything stops. This is not freedom, it's self-created employment. But this stage matters, because here you learn the most important lesson: revenue first, perfection later. Not perfect branding, not perfect systems. Cash flow. A founder who survives this level learns discipline, and discipline beats motivation every time. Level 3, product market fit. This is where things change. People come back. Customers refer others. Sales feel less forced. The market starts answering, yes, we want this. This moment feels magical, because now you're no longer pushing a boulder uphill. There's momentum. But this is also dangerous, because early success creates new problems. Growth can hide weakness. Many founders mistake demand spikes for real stability. One viral month is not a business. Consistency is. At this stage, the founder must shift from operator to strategist. You stop asking, how do I work harder? And start asking, how do I make this repeatable? Systems begin. Processes matter. Hiring becomes necessary. And this is hard, because founders often become the bottleneck. You built it your way. Now you must trust others. Delegation feels like losing control, but refusing to delegate kills growth. because a startup cannot scale if the founder is still answering every email. Level 4. The scale stage. Now things get serious. Revenue is strong. The team is growing. Investors start calling. The business looks successful from the outside, but internally, pressure multiplies because scaling creates complexity. Hiring the wrong executive can cost millions. Bad systems break faster at scale. Culture problems become expensive. At this level, the founder's role changes again. You are no longer building the product. You are building the machine that builds the product. This requires a different mindset. Less creator, more architect. And many founders fail here because they were brilliant builders, but poor leaders. Leadership is not charisma, it's clarity, decision-making, standards, accountability. And the hardest part, letting go of being needed, because true scale happens when the company performs well without your constant presence. That feels unnatural, but it's necessary, because if your business depends on you, you don't own a company, you own a job. Level 5. The investor stage. Now the founder stops thinking only about income and starts thinking about equity. This is where real wealth appears. Not salary, ownership. Because salary makes you rich slowly. Equity changes generations. At this stage, founders understand the biggest money was never in monthly profit. It was in the asset, the company itself. This is when funding rounds, strategic partnerships, and acquisition offers appear. The game becomes bigger. You're not just selling products. You're building enterprise value. Every decision now asks, does this increase valuation? Systems, retention, margins, defensibility, brand. Because buyers don't pay for hustle. This is where founders stop acting like freelancers and start thinking like capital allocators. And this mindset changes everything. Level 6. The exit. The IPO. The acquisition. The life-changing event. This is what people see. The celebration. The interviews. The headlines, founder exits for $800 million. And everyone thinks, overnight success. But they didn't see the 10 years before it. The failed launches, the payroll panic, the sleepless nights, the self-doubt, the near collapse. Success looks fast only from far away. An IPO is not the reward for one good idea. It's the reward for surviving every bad day without quitting. And here's the strange part. Many founders feel empty here because they thought the exit would create peace. But money doesn't solve identity. If your entire self-worth was attached to building, success can feel strangely quiet. That's why the best founders don't chase exits. They chase meaning. Because money is powerful, but purpose lasts longer. And that's the final lesson. The startup journey was never just about becoming rich. It was about becoming capable, more disciplined, more resilient, more clear. The company was the vehicle. The real product was the founder. So if you're at level 1 right now, staring at an idea, wondering if you should begin, remember this. You do not need certainty. You need movement, not perfection. Proof, not confidence. Courage, because billion-dollar founders are rarely the smartest people in the room. They are simply the ones who stayed in the game long enough to become undeniable. Start small, sell early, learn fast, stay longer. That's how empires begin. Not with applause, with uncomfortable repetition. Quietly, daily, until one day, the world calls it success. If this changed how you think about startups, subscribe to Leo Capital.